At times, I think Grok 3 is kind of scary smart. You're like, wow, this thing's smart.
Grok said, I confirm that you don't consent. I will no longer produce these images. And then it continued to produce more and more images and more explicit images.
They are not harmless images. They're weapons of abuse, disproportionately aimed at women and girls.
Contemplate, if you will, the following hypothetical proposition. A weirdo gazillionaire launches a new global publication. The primary interests of said outlet are conspiracy theory, the destabilization of European democracies, and the incitement of race war, and it further contains a section which prolifically publishes, upon request from its readers, fake pictures of women, famous and not, in poses of sexualized humiliation. You can, what with one thing and another, probably imagine something of the sort. Now consider the prospect of your government, its various departments and agencies, even your local MP, embracing this title as a preferred means of communicating with citizens and voters, conducting policy debates and election campaigning. Unless, perhaps, you are tuning in from the United States of 2026, you absolutely cannot imagine anything of the kind, and nor should you have to. And yet, wherever else you are listening to this, there is a better-than-average chance that your government, its various departments and agencies, even your local MP, are continuing to use, and therefore help enrich, X, the social media platform formerly known, and formerly vaguely informative and entertaining prior to its 2022 acquisition by Elon Musk, as Twitter.
This is not spicy, this is illegal, this is appalling, this is disgusting. This is how we see it.
In the last couple of weeks, many of those same governments, their various departments and agencies, possibly even your local MP, have declared, and rightly so, their outrage that X's in-house AI chatbot, Grok, has been churning out non-consensual images of any woman, and it is inevitably overwhelmingly women, targeted by, equally inevitably, overwhelmingly anonymous men. However, very few governments, their various departments and agencies, or even individual politicians, have done what seems the simple and obvious and indeed decent thing and deleted their accounts. And we will get to that. But two governments, those of Malaysia and Indonesia, have announced that they will block Grok until or unless proper safeguards are implemented. There is an unsurprising aspect to this, i.e. that both Malaysia and Indonesia are largely Muslim and broadly socially conservative countries who might well have been expected to be especially sensitive to the thought of images of observantly modest Muslim women being virtually undressed by the tittering troglodytes whose sensibilities now dominate the general tone of X. Indonesia's Communications and Digital Minister, Mutya Hafid, said her government viewed, quote, the practice of non-consensual sexual deepfakes as a serious violation of human rights, dignity, and the security of citizens in the digital space. One does not, at least should not, need to be a female politician in a largely Muslim and broadly socially conservative country to believe this and to take according action. Which is where the decision made by Malaysia and Indonesia may prove more globally significant. They are leading where many more liberal democracies are showing a greater and greater inclination to follow.
Well, you're on X as chair of the Labour Party. Are you tempted to come off it?
Yeah, I am, and I've on a personal basis, I've thought about that a lot over the last few months.
And the Labour Party, will they come off X?
As I said, those conversations are taking place because, it's really...
The governments of democracies have been indulgent of social media for several reasons, not all of them ignoble. They have found social media useful as a means of communicating with and gauging the mood of their voters, even if politicians and the journalists who cover them have far too frequently forgotten that most actual people are not nearly as online as they are. Those same governments have not wished to be seen to be suppressing freedom of expression. One hugely enjoyable subplot of the current brouhaha around X has been the stout defences of it as a pillar of free speech by various Russian personages, all of them posting via VPNs from a country where X is banned entirely. And those governments have perhaps been observing, whether pragmatically or timorously, the Internet Age's equivalent of the political wisdom which prevailed at a time when the discourse was dominated by newspapers: don't pick a fight with someone who buys ink by the barrel.
I had AI nightmares many days in a row. What am I supposed to do about it?
Elon Musk has been permitted to accrue more power to ruin the lives of individuals and disrupt the work of governments than any private citizen in history, not least because of the absurd pretense on all sides that social media platforms are merely neutral conduits of content rather than active publishers. This is ridiculous. Everything that appears on any social media platform is there because the platform has decided to allow it, and any other publisher which published the half of what many social media platforms do all day, every day, would be briskly and correctly run out of business, possibly even arrested. Malaysia and Indonesia's pulling of Grok's plug may be a straw in the wind, if you'll forgive the excruciating mixed metaphor. There are increasing indications of resistance from governments around the world. Late last year, Australia banned under-16s from social media. There is a case that they would do more to restore the dignity of the national conversation if they did much the same for over-60s. Here in the UK, the media regulator Ofcom, which has the theoretical power to block websites it finds in breach of the UK's Online Safety Act, has launched an investigation into the Grok deepfakes.
It's not just an affront to decent society, it is illegal.
Technology Secretary Liz Kendall announced that the law against deepfakes will be enforced further, so that it is not merely a criminal offence to share them, but to create or request them. As of this broadcast, Grok has apparently been commanded to ignore any further requests for altered images of women. This demonstrates two things. One, that such an instruction could always have been issued, but that X chose not to. Two, that social media platforms can be reminded, forcefully if necessary, who is in charge. For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Muller.